Hi everyone, today we're going to be looking at a bunch of different health systems to make in Gamemaker Studio 2. You can see I've got a bunch of different ones set up here. They're all varying in different levels of complexity, starting with our beginner, which is our draw health bar function built into Gamemaker. Then we have our easy, I would say, for our Sprite based health bar. We have our hearts, which is a intermediate to advanced difficulty, which basically just does quarter pieces of the heart. It shows how to go through different rows and also different how many you want each row. We can also do the fourth video, which is going to be the Kingdom Hearts style enemy health bar. That's going to be about 20 HP per bar, but you can change that to whatever you want it to be based on your max health. And I'm going to show you how to scale everything and create these additional little squares on the bottom that tell you how many bars are left. So this is going to be our advanced one. So let's get started with the beginner one. This is going to be the draw health bar function. It's going to show you how to ease down as you're taking away health, as well as draw the sprite overlay. It'll show you how I set up the sprite so that it matches with the draw health bar function. And it'll actually take the HP here, and not only does it ease the HP numbers, so it's kind of like an earthbound type thing where it goes down slowly, but also it will change color as you get lower. So I think I have this set to 20% once it's down to 20. Yeah, once it goes down to 20, it changes red. So that's what we're doing today, and let's get started. Just to show you what I've got set up right now, this is my room. I just added in a background from a sprite just so it looks pretty. That's for me more than you. And then I set up an object here. I'll just delete this so you guys can follow along with me from the very beginning. So I'm putting this in my notes file. Why? Because it is Gamemaker 2.3 and I can do whatever I want. I'm gonna call this my O health. I'm not gonna give it any sprite, but I want to make sure I put this in the room because otherwise I will definitely forget. Just so you guys know, in my room, you might see there's some additional stuff. I think it starts with an instance and a background layer. My background layer just has the background, and then my instance layer is blank. Asset layer is in there because I was doing some stuff with it earlier when I was prepping this whole thing, but it doesn't actually need to be there. So let's get started with O health. All right, we're going to start with our create event. We have to set up a couple variables that we'll be using. So set up, I guess these are called object variables. And we'll call them HP. And we'll start with max HP. And that will be, let's just set it to 80, make things really easy for us because a lot of what we're going to do is going to want to divide evenly into 4. So that's why I'm setting it to 80. And that's mainly because of the health hearts that we're going to be using because those have to divide into 4. So we're just going to base everything else around that so we don't have to come back and fix things later. And then the HP is going to equal our max HP. So that is our create event. Now let's start drawing some health bars. So let me get this set up and show you all our different health systems that we're going to do. Okay, so if you notice, I put these all in regions because as we go through, I'm going to be writing a bunch of code and I'm going to want to close these up so I don't have to look at the last section. So that's why these are in regions. You don't have to do that because it has nothing to do with the actual code of the game. So let's close these up and let's get started with our health bar. So if you look at this right now, we have a draw health bar function. So, this video would be really fast if we were just going to show that. But I'm going to show you a couple different tricks that you can do with this so it doesn't look like your ugly Gamemaker built-in health bar. So first thing we're going to do is basically just copy and paste this. Copy and paste. Okay, and let's get rid of this, make everything a little bit bigger. Okay, so one thing I like to do is for my variables, just so I can distinguish them, I'm going to do one of these. You don't have to do that, but that helps me know that these are variables that are only good in this scope of what we're doing here. So I don't try using them somewhere else. And then we've got our HP and our max HP. Remember, we set those up over here, so those are all already set. Times 100, this is necessary only if you're doing the built-in draw health bar function. This is just the way they made it. So if you don't put that times 100, what it's going to do is it's going to give you a fraction of 1 when you're trying to do this, because it's a percentage of this health bar. So you have to multiply it by 100. I don't know why they didn't just put that into the health bar function, but whatever, that's fine. Then what we're going to do is, if you look at these, let's look at what they do. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. So X1, Y1, that's going to be our top left coordinate. So 100, 100, and then 500, 200. So let's see, that's 100, 100, which is right about here. And then if we're drawing a bar, that's going to be our top left corner, and then 500, 200 is going to be right about here. And the reason I know that is in that bottom left corner, you can see our coordinates for our mouse. So this is what our health bar is going to look like in the room, just so you can get a good look at that. So moving on, we've got our coordinates. So that's going to be 100, 100, 500, 200. We're going to leave those like they are right now. That's a fair location for it. And then amount. So this is going to be the amount that's being drawn in the health bar. So that's why we have that PC. I'm not sure what PC stands for or why they chose that, but that's going to be our health bar over, or our HP over our max HP times 100. That's what this is right here. So we have C black. That's going to be our back color. So when the health is going down, this is showing us what's behind it. Our red is what shows when we are near the bottom of our health. And then the sea lime is what shows when we're at the top of our health. So these will morph between each other as it goes from high to low. It will go from sea lime to sea red. I'm going to show you how to put some custom colors in there later. And you know what, let's just draw this, and then I'm going to go over direction, show back, and show borders, just so you can see what these are. But I think this should work right now. Okay, so our health bar is going right now, and I'm just realizing now that I forgot to add in a way to lower our health. So I'm just going to add that in real quick. Just set up some global left down and a global right pressed. So left down is going to HP minus minus for me, and then this one is going to HP minus minus as well. And the reason I set two different events is one of them is going to go down 60 frames per second. The other one is just going to go down when I click. So that way I can move really fast, really slow if we're trying to see different things as the game goes on. So you can see we're going down right now. Okay, my right click is not working. Okay, I've got to change this from right press to global right pressed. Okay, so now you'll see, I'll show you kind of how this goes. It morphs from our, I didn't set up let me just set up one more little thing real quick. All right, I just set up something for my own sanity where if I press the R button, it'll restart the room. That just makes things a lot easier to show. So we've got our sea lime. It's showing completely green because we have a full health bar. As we go down, we're morphing into a sea red. And you can see when I right click, I just do, I'm decreasing 1 health. And when I do this, I'm decreasing 60 frames per second. So in a second and a quarter, it's going to completely wipe out our thing. So that's how the normal draw health bar works. You'll notice it's going right now from right to left. That's our direction. It has, if you can see, it's very small. It's a 1 pixel black border. That's in there right now. And that's something that we can affect in the built-in function. And then it also has a black background right now. If I were to get rid of the background, it would just be blank space right here. And I'm not going to show that because it's something so tiny, but just so you're aware of how that works. So let's go back into our health bar. We've got, let's take a look and see what these do. All right, so 0 is our direction. So for example, if I were to set this right now to 1, I'm pretty sure that goes from left to right. Let's take a look. Yeah, so now my health bar, instead of going from right to left, is now going from left to right. If I set this to 2, I'm pretty sure it goes from top to bottom. Or bottom to top, okay. So you can see how those directions can be changed. And if you need to know what those are, all you have to do is go back to the help manual, and it tells you exactly what directions do what. So That's why do not ignore the manual. It tells you everything about how this works, and it will pretty much build your game for you if you pay attention to it. Okay, next thing. We have, I'm going to close all this up, I think. I don't really need any of that. Okay, show back. So that's going to be that black on the background, and then show border. This is going to be that 1 pixel black border on the health bar. So now if you look at the health bar, we have that ugly green and that ugly red. So I want to make some prettier colors. What I'm actually going to do here is make my own colors. So the way I do that, let's set up some variables. Bar col green, that's going to be my green color, and col red, that's going to be my red color. So col green equals, how do we make a color? That is with a built-in GameMaker thing. Let's just go with red, green, blue. Make color RGB, and what we want to do is basically we can just create, let's just create a sprite so we can see what these colors are. And let's say I want to go with this. What I would do is I'd click this, 158, 11, 15. Those are my 3 numbers I need. But I don't like this color, so let's do a nicer color. I think I like this one better. I mean, it's not a huge difference, but it's 153, 30, 34. And sorry, that is our red color, so I'll just change this real quick. And then for our green color, let's go back. Find a nice, pretty green. I like that one. That's 0, 166, 81. Okay, so we now have a red color and a green color. Obviously, it's not going to do anything until we put it into our functions. So let's add those in. All right, and see what that looks like. Okay, so now we've got some nice, pretty greens and reds. That is perfect, exactly what we wanted. The next thing I want to do is create something where it is slowly going down. Right now it is just like taking off chunks as we go down, but I want it to slowly transition and ease into the lower health. So the way we do that is we're going to use a built-in GameMaker function called LERP, which very useful, also very silly sounding. It's for interpolate, and interpolates between 2 different numbers. Right now I'm just going to set that equal to the normal HP, but we're going to change it over here. So I'm going to put it in the step event, LERP. So display HP equals LERP. And let's get rid of that. Value 1 is going to be our display HP, because we're changing that every single time. It's basically storing our previous one. And then our normal HP, which is the current one. So let's interpolate that. Let's just say 0.1 right now. And let's, in order for that to take any kind of effect, we have to go back into here. So let's, instead of showing what this is what we're showing to the player, right? Because the game knows what our actual HP is, but what do we want to show to the player? We want to show them a nice gradual easing. So to do that, we're going to change this from HP to display HP. It is that simple. And now we have a very smooth like butter. What it's doing is it's getting like going into decimals. So like between 5 and 4 as it goes down, like if we're way down here, and it goes down from 5 to 4, it'll go down like 5, 4.9, 4.85, 4.8, 4.75, and so it goes down slowly over a certain amount of time. And that's what our interpolate is. The next thing we're going to do is create a sprite overlay. So the way to do that, let's create a sprite. Let's just call this S overlay. And What we need to know is how big this is, right? So between 100 and 500, that's our X values, and our Y values are 100, 200. So this is really a 400 pixel difference and a 100 pixel difference. So that's the size of our health bar that's on the screen, 400 by 100. So what I'll do is I'll go in here, hit 400 and 100, and let's create something. I'm gonna use a color that I know I'm gonna delete in a minute. That's weird. Okay, so we've got this big black or pink thing, and let's go into our canvas size. I'm gonna give this like a 10 pixel border. I'm gonna change this up later, but so you can see how this is done. What I want to do is basically go in here, change that, then I'm going to erase the color. This is our color removal tool. So I'm gonna get rid of that, and that will create a nice border. And then I'm just gonna, to make things a little prettier, let's give it some shape. I'll give it one more gray one. Why not? Okay, so now we've got that, and now we have to put that in our game. So if you think about the game like a chalkboard or a marker board or something, you draw whatever you can on one, first, and then anything you draw over that covers up what's before it. So because GameMaker, it's reading, it's going from top to down, and it will draw the health bar, and it's drawn onto our screen, and then it's going to draw whatever comes after that. So let's draw our sprite. I think it's just draw a normal sprite. And take a look at this. What do you want from me? Sprite is S overlay. Subimage is 0 because it starts at 0, not 1, remember. And then our X and Y is just going to be our X and our Y, which is 100, 100. Oops. So that will draw our sprite on top. And the one thing I just remembered we have to do is let's set this from our origin point. Right now it's at the middle center, but our rectangle, or our health bar, is drawing from the top left, and that's where it's starting. So let's start this at our top left. That's our top left, right where the sprite is starting to draw. Okay, so that looks really good. That's a very good looking health bar. You can do this really in any way you want. That's just a very, very normal, everyday looking health bar you might find in any kind of game. But what we want to do now is let's add a text. So I want to show in text what my health is. So let's do like 125, a little bit further in, 110, a little further in there. And our text, I want to say our HP. Okay, so we've got our HP right there, and as we go down, our HP is going down. There's a couple things you can do with this. The first one I want to show you is just the display HP. This will create kind of a earthbound type text system where our health goes down like that. It's slowly, and you can see here exactly what the LERP is doing. You see it goes immediately down. It is going down and gradually transitioning down, but of course we don't want it to say that. So what we're going to do here is display HP equals round display HP. And you know what? I'm actually going to create this as a variable because I don't want to affect this for later, for other parts of the health systems that we're going to use. I only want it to show the rounded amount here, not anywhere else. I don't want it to actually change the number. So now we're still getting our nice lerping effect, but it's not showing it in our text, which is exactly what we want. And it's going down slowly. You can see it's slowly coming down. It's doing exactly what we want. But of course we want it to look nicer than that. So let's create a nice font. Let's call it F normal. Sorry, I did that for my other stuff. Let's call that F standard. And I'm going to set this at maybe like 20. Give it a nice font. Maybe something that stands out a little bit. I'm going to go with like impact, I think. That's a nice one. And then let's add that in there. Draw set font F standard. And let's also do draw set align. Let's just set these right now. Fa center. Because as our numbers get bigger, we want to make sure that they are aligned in the right spot. Let's just do another fa center. And let's also set some colors. Sorry, that's gonna be draw set color. Whoopsies. And let's go with let's just do the same. Let's go see white to start with, and let's make it so we're gonna do this twice, right? So we want to draw that, and then we want a little black border around it. So let's remember where it's in our back. We have to draw first, so that's gonna be C black, and then we'll just give this a little bit of a border here. So let's see what that looks like now. Okay, so we have a black border. We have some nice looking numbers. Let's probably lower those just a little bit. If we look at our health bar, it's going from 100 to 200. So let's make this like 150. That's going to be a good spot because it's drawing it from the center. And then 150 here too. There we go. So now we're right in the center. And now what I want to do is let's show what our total HP is also. We don't just want to show our display HP, we want to show what our total HP. So if I were just to do this, this obviously wouldn't work because it would take a percentage. It would do the math right here and now, and that's not what we want. So we want to do plus that. And you know, you would think this would work. It actually won't work the way it is right now, because now that I've introduced some quotation marks here, I now have to convert these into strings. So let's convert those into strings. It's kind of a pain in the neck. I did not invent computers, but we would get an error if we tried to run that without writing a string here. So let's hit play there. All right, so I didn't do it on the other line, which was a little silly of me. So let's add that in. Okay, so we've got our percentage now. It's working just great. And you'll also notice that we go way underneath. So easy way to fix that. When I lower my health, I'm just gonna say, not here. Why am I doing it here? When I do that, let's just say if HP is less than or equal to 0, HP or exit, and same here. And there we go. We stopped right at 0. Perfect. That's exactly what we want. Okay, so one thing I want to do is I want to make it so when my health goes down, if I get down to like 20, let's say 20, I want the HP color to change to a red color instead of this, instead of white. So what I do is I set up var HP color. I'm just gonna call it col HP, keep to our same naming convention. Let's call that C white. And what I actually want to do here, I'm going to do something a little bit silly. Well, not silly, but sneaky and a little bit tricky that you might not see other places. I'm going to use a ternary operator. So that's going to be written a little bit different than you might be used to seeing if you're not familiar with them. But the thing we're changing is going to be our col HP, right? So we're just setting our variable there. All right, col HP equals, if our display HP is greater than max HP times 0.25. All right, if that's the case, question mark, what do we want to do? We want to set our col HP to, we set up some variables earlier, so I'm going to set that to col, well, I guess we start off with white, so C white, and then if it's not, that's a colon, we want to do col red. That is a ternary operator. It is kind of strange. If you know how to read it, it's not that hard, and you don't use it for anything bigger than like one single line. If you're adding in all sorts of, you know, equations and stuff, even though you can, it's going to make this really difficult to read. As it is right now, it's actually fairly simple. So what we want to do here now is set our color to col HP. So now if it's over 25% of our normal health, the color for our text on the front is going to be white. But if it's not true here, then the color is going to be red. So let's look at that. And moment of truth, yes, it changes to red. And everything's working for our text. And what I'm going to do is just change real quick to some of my sprites that I made before here, just so it looks the way you'll see at the end of the video. All right, a couple quick things I did just so you guys aren't taken off guard. I had to lower my font size, so that's down to 16 from 20, and then I added in my own sprite, which I called Healthbar overlay, so you'll see that change. And then I had to change around the X and Y position because the font was different and all that. So that's just what I did so that everything would look correct. So I had to change it like to 133, but you know, you can do it your own way. That's just the way that I've chosen to do it. All right, so that's about everything for this video. We've got a health bar set up. We've got health that slowly decreases. It has an easing into the current health. We've got the colors, custom colors set up, and we've got a sprite that overlays the entire thing. And it's also transparent here. That's pretty easy to do. You basically just erase part of your sprite, and that background's already filled in there. And our text changes as well. It goes from a white color to a red color. So that is our built-in Gamemaker draw health bar function. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments. Otherwise, I have a couple more videos to come up. The next one that's coming out is going to be our Sprite-based health system. I'm going to show you how that works and what the advantages are to that. The main one being that you can add textures to it, and also you can change the colors partway through your health going down. So we'll add that in the next video, and good luck with all of your projects.